Like not just on music, but like with editing and like brainstorming for how can I make my videos interesting? Because I hate repetitiveness. I want each and every of my videos, every time I put one out, I want it to be different from the ones that I put out before. So in some form or another. So, it's a headache. It's a massive headache when I try to like how can I make this video different when like I've been doing the same thing in this very room? Like how can I spice it up? So it's always a big headache, but I always somehow am able to figure it out, you know? Like not like in a bragging way, oh I'm a genius, like I can think of like some genius ways. But like, the human brain, you can always think of new things and make ways.
Nice. And like when you're trying to find a concept for a video,
Mhm.
is the musical part of your process pretty separate from the visual side, or do you find like if you're writing a song, you're like straight away like, oh yeah, and this is how the video's gonna go, or do you just focus on writing and making the tracks that you want, and then figure out what to do with them?
Yeah, my answer is the I hate this answer when somebody answers with this answer, but I have to say that it's a case by case thing.
Right.
But like sometimes I would make songs just like in the moment and I wouldn't think about like it's so sometimes I'm so emotionally into the song that into writing a song about my experiences, about my whatever I'm going through that I don't really have the space in my head to think about, oh, if I'm going to make a music video for it, if I'm going to like what's the release plan for this? Like it's just like a completely cathartic experience, like purely for the sake of making music. And sometimes it's a little more creatively driven and I would think through things a little more in advance. And sometimes I'm just in this headspace where it's like this weird collaboration between visualization and audio creation. And it's like I would want to make sounds and music that kind of reflects some of the visuals that I have in my head. So there are different dynamics to it, I think, for different projects. And I think that's the fun thing about music. There's no one way to go about it. Um, and vice versa with videos as well. Like, you know, you can make a video and then make music for it. So yeah, it's all different, dynamics.
And then you have a background in like graphic design and everything as well,
Uh-huh.
right? Have you found like that's kind of pretty handy?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like Photoshop,
Uh-huh.
Premiere, which is like what I use for editing videos, and
Mhm.
sometimes a little bit of animation. And it's frankly not something that I enjoy the most. Animation is such an arduous process. It's just
Mhm.
like I have so much respect for people like animators because man, it's a lot of work. But I know how to do it, and those skills come in handy. Like typography, that's cool.
Mhm.
Although I always just use Arial, um, or sometimes Comic Sans if I want to spice things up.
Oh, damn. You're
Yeah.
getting
Um, but it definitely has come in handy. Like I think the technical skills, yes, for sure, but more than just technical parts and like you knowing how to use all these like digital tools, I
Mhm.
think it's more like the thought process that I learned from studying graphic design that helped me more than anything else. It's
Mhm.
like I think a lot of people think that when you study graphic design, it's all about like the visuals, you study about the designing of letters, you study about the layouts, the compositions, how the mixture of visuals and typography like work out. But it's actually a lot more than that. The majority of the things that I learned when I was studying graphic design was how to produce ideas in different creative ways.
Mhm.
So we had loads of like modules where we just explored different ways of just vomiting out ideas. We would use a lot of post-it notes. We would be in groups just talking. We would be like doing these crazy speed runs of like, oh, shoot, 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 ideas, ideas, ideas.
Hmm.
We would go outside and do these like weird day projects. And it's just like really funky ways of squeezing out your brain and squeezing out your brain juice
Mhm.
for the just ways of utilizing your brain to the fullest. And I think that really was the biggest takeaway from learning graphic design for me. um
So it's not just like, oh, you have one idea, then you work on it for a year. It's like
oh
it's much
no,
right. It,
it's more like you shoot the shit and shoot the shits and just like you just do it,
mhm,
just vomit it out and not be too precious about your ideas.
mhm.
um I always like I try to kind of uh what is it, like, kind of lead Colin and Truman to do the same thing. I don't know if they're still here listening, but like I just love, I feel like it's almost become a habit for me to just like not be precious about ideas, just shoot it out,
Mhm.
vomit it out, and among these hundreds or dozens of hundreds of ideas, there will be one piece of information or idea or insight that you will be drawn to and feel very compelled about. And that's what I just go with and elaborate more, do more brainstorm on that piece of idea, and then just go on like like spider webs. And then in the end, you just it becomes this like body of this very specific research on this very specific idea. And that becomes, I narrow it down and it becomes this one final product.